Hey everyone, retire on dividends here, aka R.o.D for short, as everyone likes to say. But as promised, I'm making a video on the ISPY ETF. I'm doing it on the launch date, and I'm doing it because really I just found out about it. I saw Max Convexity created a video just talking about the fund in general, which I watched. And you guys should check him out. He covers, he's an options guru, I'll say, and he covers the Defiance funds just like me. And he talks about other things. But if you're interested, go check his YouTube out. Anyway, let's talk about ISPY. What is ISPY? Right? We have SPY, now we have ISPY. So ISPY is from ProShares, and they have it's called S&P 500 High Income ETF. It's the first ETF powered by a daily call option strategy. So I guess that's true because Defiance is a daily put option strategy. So this is the first one. They can now say we are the first of something, right? We are the first daily call option strategy. So this makes it very interesting to say the least. So let's go through the website, and then we can kind of go through the prospectus, and you guys can let me know what you think. Why invest in ISPY? It's high income potential, selling call options each day. Okay, great. Efficient income generation potential, seek income and target S&P 500 returns over the long term. Okay, good. Higher return potential, seek to capture returns that monthly covered call strategies may sacrifice. Okay, so it's basically saying, since they're selling daily, they can produce more income. Here is their investment objective. ProShares S&P 500 high income ETF, blah, blah, seeks investment results before fees. It's just a whole bunch of crap. I'm done reading that. All right, I have the prospectus, but I wanted to cover one section here first. So yeah, the ticker's ISPY. They launched today. Today's December 18th. Their expense ratio is 0.55%. So that is less than Defiance, which is 0.99%. Their distributions are monthly. Their exposure is the S&P. So here's some holdings from the S&P, not holdings, sectors. Number of companies, 500, obviously. Dividend yield percentage, 1.91. Obviously, they just launched, so I don't think any of this is relevant. The S&P 500 consists of okay, so look at this. The S&P 500 daily covered call index consists of a long position in the S&P 500 total return index and a short position in a one-day out-of-the-money S&P 500 index call option. So, what is the S&P total return index? I had to look it up. I mean, there's so much. It's like you never stop learning, I swear. So here is the S&P 500 total return index. It's priced at 10,249.77. And the index ticker of sorts is SP 500 TR. So I had to look that up. I guess they have exposure into that via, I don't know, if they just buy it or they do a synthetic or what. But it sounds like they're just, buying it. And they do mention futures in the prospectus, so maybe they'll own it via futures. No distribution data. Obviously, you can enter your name and email address and get notifications, but that's basically it. On the top, you'll see this. I was really hoping I'd have some holdings for the video, but when I click holdings, nothing happens. So, there's nothing further that we can cover on the website. So let's get to the prospectus. Here's the prospectus. And as always, I highlight the things that I think are relevant, and then I put this into my Discord under the, I believe it's called files still, but it's under the something probably the files section in my Discord if you wanted to read it yourself, which I would highly recommend. Because again, I'm highlighting what I think is important. It doesn't mean what is actually important. Because I'm a lazy reader. I hate reading. I just like to skim. I got through my, I got by in life by skimming, believe it or not. I never really, read books until I got into investing. And even then, it's just I have to read some things like multiple times to grasp it, because I don't pay attention to anything. Anyway, ISPY, S&P 500 high income ETF. Okay, great. Table of contents, awesome. 29 pages, by the way. All right, so investment objective, we kind of went through that. It tracks the performance of the S&P 500, does daily covered calls. That's essentially it. And just so you know, the way this is set up, I have to go to the left and then I'll come back to the right. Expense ratio is 0.55%. Again, that's respectable considering daily options. So maybe they're like nudging Defiance and Yield Max, yo, we could do 0.55%. What's up, And then maybe they'll lower theirs. Or maybe ProShares is awful and the 0.55% won't be worth it. Who knows? I don't know. Time will tell. All right, so the index is designed to replicate a daily covered call strategy that sells call options with 1 day expiration, not 0 days to expiration, 1 day to expiration. Each day, an S&P 500 daily covered call strategy seeks to generate high income with a total return and risk similar to the S&P 500 over the long term. I don't know. I guess they're going to be selling out of the money. So we're going to have some capital gains. We'll see. Daily covered call strategy provides greater total return potential over the long term. So compared to monthly call options, it's saying daily covered call strategy can provide, greater total return. Okay, sure. But again, it all depends. It depends on the fund manager, how where they set the strikes, things like that. But yet, yes, if you do things daily versus monthly, typically, if all works out, you're going to make more. But it's managed a lot more. So they typically would ask for more money. So the fact that they're not asking for 0.99%, I already like that. Good job. In periods of flat or decline, I think this was the part that confused me. In periods of flat or declining S&P 500 performance, the S&P 500 daily covered call strategy may underperform the S&P covered call strategy. Oh, using monthly. Okay. Before I was reading it as just the S&P, but it's saying in a declining market, the S&P covered call strategy daily could lack the monthly. So, but whatever. I don't care. Enough talk about monthly. The fund intends to make distributions each month of an amount that generally reflects the dividend and call premium income earned by the index as measured by the S&P 500 daily covered call index. So this tells me they're going to own, that total return index we saw. So we'll get dividends. Our monthly distribution looks like could be dividends and premium income, which is pretty cool. We're not used to that with the Yield Max ones, right? Because they own it via synthetic, which means they don't really own it. They have a call. They have a buy call and a sell put. So in this one, they'll probably own the underlying, which means you'll get dividends. So we'll take dividends plus call premium and we'll get what's called our monthly distribution. So far, I like it. I like what I see. And again, just so you guys know, I kind of just went through this last night. I highlighted. I didn't do too in depth. I'm just kind of thinking as I go now, so I can give you some true reaction time. Again, because that's what I like to do. I don't, I'm better, winging things. I'm more that person. I'm not a preparer. Like if for work, they like, oh, can you do a presentation? And they're like, oh, do you want to just go through a rundown? I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm not. The only time I'm going to go through this presentation is when it's live. but that's how I work. I can't do it any other way. The fund will invest in at least 80% of its total assets in component securities of the index. Okay. Two parties agree. All right, so they have swap agreements, which means two parties agree to exchange swap payments based on the change in value on an underlying asset or benchmark. Basically, it's an agreement, with another, fund or investment company, and they're gonna basically provide us security, likely for the payments in exchange for something else. And then it mentions future contracts here, standardized contracts that obligate the parties to buy or sell an asset at a predetermined price and date in the future. So we'll see when they actually post their holdings, if they're going to hold any futures. And obviously, they're going to hold treasuries like everyone else because the interest rate's so high. But again, we're not going to know the true arrangement until the holdings are posted. We get a gist. We should know, based on reading the prospectus, but things are all over the place so far. The seller of the option gives up the opportunity to benefit from the price increases in the underlying instrument above the exercise price of the options, but continues to bear the risk of the underlying instrument price declines. The premiums received from the options may not be sufficient to offset any losses. This just means when you sell a covered call, yes, you are capped. Whatever strike price you choose, which is hopefully out of the money, you are capped at that point. But when the stock goes down, again, you own the underlying. If the stock goes down, you're going to move with that underlying stock. But it's good for the call because you're not going to get exercise. That premium income that you're earning, that's all profit, baby. Monthly distribution risk. Amount that reflects the dividend and call premium income earned by a daily covered call strategy. There's no guarantee that the fund will make such distributions. So it's basically saying there could be months where you'll get no payment. But it's likely, like these other funds do, they pay out of capital. They pay out of return of capital. So they may do that to save face. During periods when the value of the long component of the index is falling, it is possible for the fund to suffer substantial investment losses. Yeah, we know this. Obviously, there's risk in investing. As a result of its monthly distributions and investment strategy of the fund, a significant portion of such distributions may be characterized as return on capital, as I just mentioned, for financial reporting and tax purposes. A return on capital is the portion of the distribution representing the return of your investment in the fund, essentially paying you your own money. But a return on capital is generally tax-free, again, because they're paying you their own money. It better be tax-free. Okay, some risk information, some other information. Again, I don't highlight everything. I just highlight what I think is important. And then here's a whole, I typed that just so you know, risk, blah, blah, blah. If you want to know about more risks, then here it is. But I did find this. All right. So it tracks the performance of the S&P 500 daily call index. Objective is non-fundamental. And look at this. I should not have highlighted it that way. Okay, that's better. Oh, crap. All right, there you go. Look at this. May be changed by the Board of Trustees. The fund's investment objective is non-fundamental, meaning that it may be changed by the Board of Trustees of ProShares Trust without the approval of fund shareholders. The fund reserves the right to substitute a different index for the index without shareholder approval. So the investment objective may be changed by the board without our approval, and they also may change the index without our approval. I just thought that was very interesting. So I highlighted it. Anyway, scrolling through the risks section, blah, 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 like I said. Again, I'm saving this on the Discord, or it's on their website. Feel free to gather it either way. Obviously, the Discord version will have my highlighted sections for you guys to review. But yeah, I went through. Sorry if you're getting dizzy with my scrolling, but it is what it is. There we go. Okay, here's the advisors. If you guys, being an ETF, being in these high income ETFs, we need to start knowing who these advisors are. So let's start saying their names. Michael Netchis. All right, he was around. He's been working there since November 2010. Okay, he's established. I'm not going to go too far into his resume here. And then they have Devin Sullivan. Never heard of him. Okay, he's been around since December 21. Right? He's not some new schlep. So we'll take it. Again, I'm just starting to say names now so we can start recognizing who these people are instead of just Jay. All right. Everyone talks about NAV, so I figured let's talk about NAV. The determination of NAV. The NAV per share of the fund is computed by dividing the value of the net assets of the fund, which is, again, assets less liabilities, by its total number of shares outstanding. Expenses and fees are accrued daily and taken into account for purposes of determining NAV. People ask that all the time. Where's the expense? Is it coming out at the end of the year? No, it's calculated daily, just coming off the top. You don't even see it. Okay. Is there anything on the left before I get to the right? Nope. All right. So what do we got here? A significant portion of the monthly distribution may be characterized as return of capital for financial reporting and tax purposes. A distribution or a portion of a distribution may be characterized as investment income or net realized capital gains derived from the fund's direct security holdings and derivative instruments. You will receive such earnings as either income dividend or a capital gains distribution. The fund intends to declare and distribute net investment income, if any, and net realized capital gains, if any, to its shareholders at least annually. Okay, some capital gains, baby. I don't know how that's going to work, though, because if they own it, it depends how they own it. Do they own it outright? Do they own it via futures contract? I don't know. Again, I need the holdings. Payable in either additional shares. Look at this. Yeah, I thought this was interesting. Subject to board approval, some or all of any distribution may be declared payable in either additional shares of the distributing fund or in cash. Like what? Wait, you're saying you're gonna pay us in shares? Like, what is that? I mean, I know like some individual stocks, some equity stocks, sometimes they'll do like a bonus and they'll pay in stocks, like in shares. But I've never seen one of these ETFs do that. I hope they're not going to do that, but who knows? I want it in cash. But again, I wanted to highlight that because I thought that was important. All right, investments by the fund in options, futures, forward contracts, swap agreements, and other derivative financial instruments are subject to numerous special and complex tax rules. I just want to hear that there's no K1. I don't think there is, but I don't know. All right, this part, people always ask about this, but it's, I thought it was interesting, So in order to qualify or be considered a RIC, the fund must derive at least 90% of its gross income for each taxable year from qualifying income to meet certain assets. Wait, when did I say that? Yeah, the fund must derive at least 90% of its gross income for each taxable year from qualified income in order to qualify as an RIC. So that tells me they're going to pay out 90% of their income, which, this is kind of like what we're familiar with on the other funds. So I assume there's benefits to being an RIC, which I forget what exactly that acronym means. It's probably in the wording here somewhere. Sorry, I didn't have that in advance. Anyway, let's continue. Distributions declare. Okay, this is cool. Distributions declared in October, November, or December of 1 year payable to shareholders of record in such month and paid by the end of January of the following year are taxable for federal income tax purposes as if received on December 31st of the calendar year in which distributions were declared. So this is what I was thinking with yield max. When we get paid on January 6th or whatever it is, that's going to be applicable income for the prior calendar year. And they're mentioning that here. This may also be in the Yield Max prospectus, but I did not, the first time I read that one, I was probably, not as going into much detail because I was so new to the fund. I was very overwhelmed. But as I read more and more prospectuses, if that's a word, I'm getting a little more familiar of what to look for, and I'm getting a little more, demanding on some information. Ordinary dividends you receive that fund reports as qualified dividend income may be taxed as the same rate as long-term capital gains. So yeah, if we get some qualified dividends, we could be taxed as capital gains, which is great. But will not be considered long-term capital gains for other federal income tax purposes. Okay, whatever. Not tax advice, right? Dividends paid to a shareholder that is not. This is for my non-U.S. people, guys. Okay, I can't always assume everyone's from the U.S., which obviously it's not the case. So I'm just going to read this. Dividends paid to a shareholder that is not a United States person within the meaning of the code, that the fund properly reports as capital gain dividends, short-term capital gain dividends, or interest-related dividends, each as further defined, and that's are not subject to withholding of the U.S. federal income tax, provided that certain other requirements are met. I don't know if you guys know what those other requirements are, but I figured I'd read that. Generally, then I look down here, generally, there will be subject to withholding of U.S. federal income tax of 30%. Like, what? So that confused me, but I figured I'd mention that to you guys if you guys want to read this section. If you do not live in the United States, there's a lot more going on there. And I hate talking about tax, but, there it is. People always ask me, oh, what's this premium discount thing? I always tell them, don't worry about it, but I'll read this anyway. Premiums or discounts are the difference between the NAV and the market price of the fund on a given day. Generally, at the time the NAV is calculated, a premium is the amount that the fund is trading above the NAV. A discount is the amount that the fund is trading below the NAV, which to me, again, you don't find much discrepancy, so that's always irrelevant to me. If you guys think differently, let me know. Let's keep going. I think that's it. I think that is it. And good thing, because I am tired of talking and I am thirsty. So I will save this prospectus in my Discord, as I mentioned. And then you guys can do your own research. As always, I'm not a financial advisor. This is never financial advice. This is not tax advice. I'm not a tax advisor. This video is just for fun and entertainment. But yeah, go to the website, check them out. Let me know what you think. It's going to be an interesting fund, selling daily covered calls on the S&P. Pretty damn cool. Am I going to buy some? Probably. I would like to see their holdings, though, before, because I don't really, again, it looks to me maybe they're going to own it outright, and then they're going to collect dividends, and then they're going to sell short calls on what they own. Daily calls, obviously, but I don't know. What is this 1.91 dividend yield? Obviously, they're not paying anything, so I don't know why they even have that there. But so my overall impression is that it's going to be a pretty decent fund. That's my opinion. And it's going to be a great alternative to the Defiance ETFs. I think so. And I really do like that they're lowering the expense ratio. They're not just going to be like everyone else and do the 0.99%. Everyone's kind of been just doing the same thing. Oh, I can collect this. Why not? But no, they're stepping up and they're saying, you know what? You guys deserve a discount. Let's do 0.55%. Sucks for the people that work there because they probably get paid less. But, for the investor, bam, I'll take it, baby. That's really good. So I'd like to give them a few days. Let's see what the holdings come out to be. Let's see how the price comes out. I'll add it to my watch list. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Is this something that you're definitely going to buy, or is this something that you're going to do what I'm doing? You're just going to wait. And just so you know, FYI, there is a summary prospectus, and then there's statement of additional information. I did not click this, but oh my God, 80 pages. Yeah, we're not talking about this today. But yeah, that's woof. That's a lot of info there. Wow. Anyway, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about this fund. Are you buying it? Are you waiting? Are you not buying it? Because I don't know. I already own SPY, so I might as well own ISPY, right? But yeah, these tickers are getting a little ridiculous. But yeah, again, my opinion, just my opinion, is I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm just gonna give it a few days, few weeks, see how it goes, and go from there. I think people are going to say, what is the dividend yield? I mean, they're selling daily covered calls, but I think they're going to go a little further out of the money. So I don't think they're going to have a yield like Defiance. If I was to guess, if you're going to make me guess, I would say in the 30% range. But I don't know. I have no idea like how they're going to handle it, right? Because we're getting dividend income and we're going to get premium income. So I don't see it as 60%, 50%. It's definitely going to be 30% or less. I won't do it if it's 10% or less, but 20% or more, I'm probably going to buy. Let me know what your limit is, or let me know what you think the dividend yield is going to be. But my guess is around 30%. We'll see. It's a fun time to be an investor. I'll tell you that much. But let me know what you guys think of this investment. Let me know what you think of the video. Did I do a good job or did it suck? Either way, let me know. Because to me, the number one way to review something is directly in the prospectus. That is what they file. That is what they have to live by. So why would I review anything else, right? Sure, I could plug in stuff on a spreadsheet, but for all you know, I could be making up stuff. If I go directly to the website and I pull the prospectus, that's from them, right? That's their data, and that's what we should be reviewing. Anyway, enough rambling. I need to go eat something. It's lunchtime, but I'm going to post this right away. I'm not going to wait and schedule it because it just launched today. So let's get it out for launch day, all right? Happy launch day, ISPY. I'm impressed so far, so let's keep it good. All right, I'm out of here. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching. Later.